Γεια σας, my name is Maria and I'm a Greek teacher in Greek My Mind. Γεια σας, με λένε Μαρία και είμαι δασκάλα ελληνικών στο Greek My Mind. In today's episode, I'm gonna talk to you about how to conjugate verbs that exist in passive voice. Firstly, I would like to clarify what is passive voice in Greek. In Greek, we mostly use passive voice for verbs that show that the subject of the sentence does something, which is the action of the verb, and this action comes back to the subject. For example, I'm washing my hair. I am washing my hair. In Greek would be only one verb. Εγώ λούζομαι. I'm doing something to me. Also, in Greek, most of the verbs have both active, ενεργητική φωνή, and passive voice, παθητική φωνή. But there are some certain verbs that exist only in active or only in passive. Let's start now from scratch. We have discussed in the previous episode about the different categories of verbs that we have in Greek. And so we have the first category, which is verbs that end in O, always omega, because every verb ends in omega when it's in O, like μένω. Verbs in ao, o, like μιλάω, μιλώ. Verbs in o with the stress. And some other verbs that are mostly regular. So let's stick to the first three categories. So these verbs, in order to make them from active to passive voice, you need to remember one simple rule. The rule is that verbs that end in O, so first category verbs, in passive voice, they become ome. They get the ending ome, like, for example, γράφω could be γράφομαι, to submit something. So, to submit myself somewhere, to enroll. In active, this verb γράφω means to write, but in passive, it means I enroll somewhere. So, sometimes also, the meaning of the verb can change from active to passive voice. Second category verbs, verbs ending in ao, o, like αγαπάω, αγαπώ, μιλάω, μιλώ, to love, to speak, talk, have the ending of ieme in passive voice. So αγαπάω could be αγαπιέμαι, or μιλάω could be μιλιέμαι. And the third category verbs, verbs that end in O with the stress, like εξηγώ, to explain, I explain in Greek, because we don't have bare infinitives, like in English. I explain, εξηγώ. O with stress become in passive voice ούμε, so εξηγούμε. I'm explaining myself. So, now that you'll remember these three rules in order to be able to make your verb from active to passive, and the opposite, I'd like to tell you how to conjugate them. Let's start from the first category of verbs, the verb γράφομαι. It is εγώ γράφομαι, εσύ γράφεσαι, αυτός γράφεται, αυτή γράφεται, αυτό γράφεται, εμείς γραφόμαστε, εσείς γράφεστε, αυτοί γράφονται, αυτές γράφονται, αυτά γράφονται. Because they in Greek has also three persons. Αυτός becomes αυτή, αυτή becomes αυτές, and αυτό becomes αυτά. So, I'm talking again only about present tense, that in Greek we don't have simple present or present continuous. It's one tense, present, and if it's simple or continuous, depends on the context. Second category of verbs, I'm gonna take the example of αγαπάω, that will become αγαπιέμαι. So, εγώ αγαπιέμαι, εσύ αγαπιέσαι, αυτός, αυτή, αυτό, he, she, it, αγαπιέται, εμείς αγαπιόμαστε, εσείς αγαπιόσαστε, or αγαπιέστε, it's the same, sorted, αυτοί, αυτές, αυτά αγαπιούνται. And the third category of verbs, εξηγώ, that becomes εξηγούμε, could be, εγώ εξηγούμε, εσύ εξηγείσαι, αυτός, αυτή, αυτό, he, she, it, εξηγείται, εμείς εξηγούμαστε, εσείς εξηγούσαστε, or εξηγήστε, shortened. Αυτοί, αυτές, αυτά εξηγούνται. And keep in mind those three verbs. Κοιμάμαι, which is I'm sleeping. Βρίσκομαι, which means I'm located. Λυπάμαι, which means I am sorry or I'm sad. Κοιμάμαι and λυπάμαι exist only in passive voice, and βρίσκομαι exist in active as βρίσκω, which means I find something, and in passive βρίσκομαι, which means to be located. In Greek we have this common question, πού βρίσκεσαι, where are you at, where are you located? Or the answer would be, βρίσκομαι στην Αθήνα, I am located, I am now in Athens. So, I'm gonna conjugate only κοιμάμαι, because it ends in ame. Εγώ κοιμάμαι, εσύ κοιμάσαι, αυτός, αυτή, αυτό κοιμάται. Εμείς κοιμόμαστε, εσείς κοιμόσαστε, shortened, κοιμάστε, αυτοί, αυτές, αυτά κοιμούνται. So, feel free to practice with these verbs in passive voice. Thank you for watching this video with me. Feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell in order to be always tuned. And don't forget, Greek is a state of mind. Σας ευχαριστώ.